Yep, that's a bowl of fruit. Hey friends, I hope your week is off to a great start. On one of my salad videos, somebody asked, what about fruit? And it's a really great question and a really well-timed question because on TikTok there's a trend called nature's cereal. Nature's cereal is essentially fruit salad, but for Gen Z. So I wanted to take some time today to go over some fruit prep with you to show you a few different types of fruit that you may not have tried before, as well as show you how to make nature's cereal. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. First up, let's prep the papaya. When shopping for papaya, you want to get ones that are kind of heavy for their size. The skin will probably be green when you buy it. It'll start to turn yellow as it ripens up though. There are a few ways to go about approaching prepping this. You can either cut it in half and then cut the skin off with a knife. I find it a little bit easier to use a vegetable peeler to remove all of the skin and then cut it up. So that's what we'll do today. The one downside to peeling the papaya before slicing it is that the outside of the papaya is quite slippery once the skin is off, so just use some caution as you're doing this. So with the papaya nicely peeled, you can see it's got a really nice color to it, and now what we need to do is slice it from end to end. And there are seeds inside here, so I like to open it over a bowl in case any of the seeds spill out. And then using just a large spoon, go ahead and scrape all of the seeds and those membranes into your garbage bowl. And I really don't like the way that the membranes taste, so I always go out of my way and maybe take off a little of the fruit rather than leaving some trace membrane behind. And this is what it should look like when you're done. So you can see the inside is nice and even color. There are none of those stringy bits left over here. So we'll repeat the same thing with the second half of the papaya. So with both halves of the papaya cleaned up, we can go ahead and slice this. So I like to start by trimming off the ends, and then I like to cut it lengthwise into strips, and then we'll cut it crosswise into cubes. And so this is what it looks like here. It's got this really pretty pink flesh, and then it's a little bit lighter orange on the outside. It's super juicy. The flavor is very sweet. It's got a little bit of a floral taste to it, but it's pretty mild overall. Papaya is delicious eaten entirely on its own. However, if you put this in a smoothie, it will be so creamy and rich. It kind of can replace yogurt almost. It's that creamy. Next is white dragon fruit. So despite this beautiful pink exterior, the interior flesh here is white. And the outside is scaly, kind of like dragon skin almost. The way you'll know when these are ripe is that these will start to dry up. So when I bought this, it was all kind of a uniform pink color, and then the exterior bits are starting to dry out. So now I know that this is ripe and juicy. It should yield to your touch a little bit. The texture of this fruit is similar to a kiwi. These are a little bit intimidating because of their appearance. However, they are soft. So just cut it lengthwise from end to end. And this is what you've got inside. This is a little bit crispy and crunchy because of all the seeds in here. It's totally edible. The only thing you can't eat is the outer peel. So there are a couple ways that you can approach this. My preference is to just take a large spoon, similar to if I were doing an avocado, and just run that around the outside and scoop the flesh out that way. So that's what it looks like here. I like to peel off any of the kind of pink bits that might be left behind on the outside there because those aren't so tasty. And then you can just cut it up into cubes. And that gives you nice even cubes of the dragon fruit. The alternate would be to cut it again lengthwise, so essentially quartering the dragon fruit. And then you can just peel this off. So if you slip your finger between the peel and the flesh, it'll come right off like that. Whenever I do this method though, I always end up having to peel off a little bit more of this pithy outer layer. Texture, as I said, it's super tender. The sweetness is very mild, similar to a melon. And then there's a little bit of crispiness from those seeds. Same experience as to eating a kiwi, where it just crunches a little bit beneath your teeth. If you've never had it based on the outer appearance, you're probably thinking it's a really big, bold flavor. However, it's super mild. Next is the golden dragon fruit, and very similar to the white variety. It's got a kind of fun exterior that's a little bit scaly looking, and you prepare it exactly the same way. Very similar to the white dragon fruit. The exception being this one is a little bit more crispier and crunchier from the seed component. The texture of the flesh is the same. The seeds, though, are more pronounced. Equally delicious. Next is mango, which is more common than the other fruits, however, still a little bit difficult to get into. The way that I like to do it is to peel it first, then cut it. So let's do that. When you buy your mangoes, they're probably going to be totally green. You'll know when they're ripe when the green starts to go away and you start to get either a yellow or a red hue on the outside. And you'll notice the mango has kind of a wide direction and a narrow direction. The pit is running in this direction here, so we're going to take the cheeks off like this. So you want to stand the mango up and use the knife to identify the center, and then move over about 1/4 of an inch to miss the pit and just cut straight down. So that's one cheek, spin it around and do the same thing. So you've got your center mark, go out about 1/4 of an inch and cut down. So now you've got both cheeks off. However, there's a lot of flesh left over here. So if you feel around, this is all flesh over here. The core is kind of running here. You can see this dark part. So I'm just going to cut down like this to get the core off. So then with our mango flesh all removed, it's just a matter of neatly cutting it up. So you can see we get nice even cubes that way. If you haven't had mango before, really tasty. Sweetness and juiciness similar to a ripe peach, but the texture is a little bit more firm and chewy. I absolutely love mango. This is another one, if you don't want to eat it just plain, this is perfect in my green smoothie, frozen rather than ice cubes. It's amazing. And then lastly is star fruit. And this gets its name because it is shaped like a star. When you buy this in store, it's probably going to be totally green. You want it to be mostly not green. So just let it hang out until it ripens up. And then to eat this is pretty straightforward. You're just going to cut the ends off and then cut crosswise into whatever thickness you want. Perfect, so there you have it. Similar to apples, there are seeds that live here in the center. So if you see any that are hanging out, just pop them out. The seeds are technically edible, so if you want to eat them, by all means, that's totally fine. I just don't like the taste and the texture compared to the flesh of the fruit. If you haven't had star fruit before, very crisp, very juicy. Texture is similar to kind of like a slightly underripe pear, where there's a little bit of kind of like a grit or a meal to it, which I quite enjoy. I'm a huge pear fan. It's super juicy though, like citrus, where it kind of bursts in your mouth. The last ingredient is pomegranate seeds. This is one of the most shameful things about me. I am so bad at peeling pomegranates. I've watched numerous YouTube videos and read articles. I just can't figure it out. I'm so bad at it. So I just buy them already peeled. If you've got a video that you really like, that you found helpful for understanding how to get the seeds out of the pomegranate intact, please share it down below. I am happy to learn more. Maybe I'll do a separate video on opening pomegranate. So with all of this prepped, let's go ahead and assemble our nature cereal. Like I said, nature cereal is basically Gen Z fruit salad, so it's gonna come together really quickly. Here I've got kind of a medium-sized bowl, and we'll just add in our fruits as much as we want. Most people are putting ice cubes over their nature cereal to keep it cold for longer while they eat it. However, I absolutely hate putting ice in anything because it just waters the flavor down. So I'm going to be using some frozen triple berry. And then rather than milk on cereal, we're using coconut water. So Harmless Harvest, not sponsored, is the only brand of coconut water I will buy. I have tried numerous other kinds and they all taste like absolute garbage. This one tastes almost as good as fresh coconut water from a young coconut. So if you haven't tried this one, totally worth it. It is like $4 a bottle. So it's not an everyday thing, but I do quite enjoy it. So we'll just pour this over the top. And there you have it. This is nature cereal. It feels a little silly to be doing a tasting of a bowl of fruit, but it is quarantine. I think we've done weirder things at this point, so let's give it a try. So I've got, I think, one of everything on here. Yep, that's a bowl of fruit. Obviously, it's delicious. It's a bowl of fruit with coconut water. There's nothing to not like in here. Is it worth the effort of making this fruit cereal? For me, not really. I'm someone who enjoys eating fruit and vegetables. I don't need a fancy presentation to make it worth the while. However, if you're going to a party or hosting a brunch, this could be a fun alternative to a melon salad, for example. If you're someone who struggles with eating fruit and you need a fun way to make yourself eat it, by all means, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with doing this. It's just very extra to do it this way. So beyond that, though, I will say fruit does have a lot of sugar. So even though it's natural sugar and the fiber is all here, so it is slowing your digestion down while you eat it. So to minimize that insulin spike, we really should be focusing more on eating vegetables rather than fruit. So whenever I have fruit, typically I'm pairing it up with vegetables in a smoothie, like my green smoothie or my carrot smoothie. And that way you're getting something that might be more challenging to eat, like kale or spinach or whatever you put in your smoothies. But do whatever makes you happy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying your fruit this way. So I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, please be sure to give me a big thumbs up and click subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.